In this video, we're going to be doing an example of simplifying a complex fraction. So when we see a complex fraction, the first thing that we want to do is freak out. But we don't need to. All we need to do is break it down into 1, 2, 3 separate problems. So if we look at our numerator first, we have a 2 over x minus 3. So we're going to put a 1 on the bottom there. And then we're going to get common denominators, so we'll multiply by x there, which gives us 2 over x minus 3x over x, which then gives us 2 minus 3x all over x. And this is going to be the answer to our first problem. So now we can look at our second smaller problem, which is 1 minus 1 over x minus 1. So we'll just put a 1 on the denominator there. Now we're going to get a common denominator, so we will multiply our left equation by x minus 1 to its numerator and its denominator. And 1 times x minus 1 is just x minus 1, so we'll have x minus 1 over x minus 1 minus 1 over x minus 1, which will give us x minus 2 over x minus 1, and that is going to be the solution to our second problem. So now we can kind of look at our bigger picture, which is a division problem. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our first problem and we are going to divide that by our second problem, and that's going to give us the answer to our third problem. So we have 2 minus 3x over x divided by x minus 2 over x minus 1. So I have a fraction divided by a fraction, which means that I want to keep, change, and flip. I'm going to change that to multiplication. So let's go ahead and rewrite that. So we have our keep, and then we have our change, and now we have our flip, and now we're ready to multiply those together. So I'm going to go ahead and put them together, and I'm going to get the quantity 2 minus 3x times x minus 1 over x times x minus 2. And then I need to see if I can cross anything out. And it doesn't look like we have anything that matches. And so here we're going to be done. Except that we need to list all the things that x is not allowed to be. So we know that x is not allowed to equal a 0. And we know from right here that x is not allowed to equal a positive 2 because we can't divide by 0. But remember that way back here, before we flipped, the x minus 1 was in the denominator, which means that anything that would make the x minus 1 turn into a 0 would be something that we can't have. So we're going to take that denominator, x minus 1, to help us figure out what x is not allowed to be. And we're going to set that equal to 0, and then we're going to solve. And here I see that x is equal to 1. So if x equaled 1, that would give me a 0, and that's something that we do not want. Which means that for part of my answer, I need to write that x is not allowed to be the number 1. So now that everything is simplified and we can't cross anything out, and we've found the things that x is not allowed to be, we are now finished, and we have our answer.